Hey folks, this is Coach Shanelle. I am excited. This is day 4 for folks who've been following along. I've been doing a video every day throughout this new year to walk you through realizing these goals. Everybody says 2017 is going to be my year. This is going to be the year of change. I'm going to be doing big things. And so I wanted to follow along with you throughout the year to make sure that you're staying actively geared towards those changes. So for people who missed the last videos, the first video, we talked about how to break down these big dreams into goals and taking it one step at a time. Then we talked about on day 2 how to work with your emotions, because sometimes your emotions can get in the way of you being able to do bigger things in your dreams. Day 3, we talked about some things that you could do in order for you to be able to do things more efficiently and effectively, to increase productivity in your dreams. And then today we're going to be talking about eliminating the dead weight. And so I want to make sure that you folks know that this is part of an ongoing series so that you can follow along. I do have my notes today for people who haven't been following me. I used to not use notes, but I realized that I have a tendency to ramble. So I do have my notes this year. It's to hold me accountable to the time and make sure that I'm trying to keep on subject while I'm talking. And so today I want to talk about dead weight. And the reason why I wanted to say that is oftentimes people want to get started on doing big dreams. They want to accomplish big goals, and they're trying to transform their lives essentially. And they don't know how to make these drastic changes in their lives. And so they want a big impact to happen, but they don't know how to do that. And so I've been trying to do this series to make sure that people know how to get started, how to hold themselves accountable, and how to move towards their dreams. And one of the things I have to talk about if we're going to move you closer to your dreams is eliminating the dead weight. Oftentimes we're trying to make drastic changes. We're trying to do so many different things ourselves, but sometimes we hold on to those things that are weighing us down from our past. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about some dead weight that you might be carrying, which is weighing you down. And so it can prevent you from moving at the pace that you'd really like to be moving at. And so sometimes it's not necessarily that the actions that you're taking aren't necessarily good enough, but sometimes you need to let go of some things to make room for some greater things to come into your life. And so what are some things that might be holding you down or could be considered dead weight? Okay, first we got to deal with your circle, right? And you guys are going to hear me saying this over and over throughout the year. Your circle is a big deal. People will say it doesn't matter who you're friends with. Yes, it does matter who you're friends with. And let me tell you why. The people that you choose to spend your time with reveal a lot about what you think about, what you value, and what you consider to be important. When people look at your friends, they think that tells a signal or sends a signal about who it is you are and what you value. And if your friendships aren't in alignment with what you value, then you have to question why you feel so comfortable being around those people. And so sometimes people will say, well, I just like those people because they make me laugh. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that. I used to feel that way too, because I had a huge diverse group of a circle of friends, and my friendship circle is very diverse, and I completely understand there's some people that you've been with. Hi Timothy, how are you? I'm glad you can tune in. There's some people that you've been friends with for a long period of time. And there's nothing to say that there wasn't some value in that friendship. However, when you're trying to get to a different level, when you're trying to reach outside of your comfort zone, you're trying to reach towards something new, sometimes you have to get rid of the old to make room for the new. And if you're looking at your friendships and you're seeing that you've been friends for maybe a long period of time, but it turns out that that friendship is not bringing any value into your life anymore, you might need to look at if that's somebody who really needs to continue moving forward with you. We all know that there's a time that's required with things that are in our lives. And sometimes as you start to move forward, you'll start to realize that you don't necessarily fit in with those old friends anymore anyway. Your conversation is going to be different. When you start focusing on your goals, the things that you talk about are going to be very different than the things that other people are talking about who were friends with you before. Your focus starts to change. The things that you care about starts to change. The ways in which you spend your time start to change. And so sometimes you'll already start to notice that you're not really fitting in with those people. They often don't understand what it is that you're talking about. If they don't have a business, if they're not trying to work towards these goals, you might bring up these things that you're very excited about, and they don't even know what you're talking about. That's how much of a gap there is between what it is you want and what your friends are focused on. Here's the other thing about having friendships that aren't necessarily of value. If you hang around with 4 broke people, guarantee you'll be the 5th one. I'm sorry. You might be thinking, no, that's not necessarily the case. I happen just to be the person in my friendship circle that's successful right now. And let me tell you, if it's not going to be that you're going to pick up some bad habits from them, it's going to be that those 4 broke people are going to be trying to borrow from you. Either way, you're going to end up in the poorhouse. I can tell you for sure. The people that are closest to you reveal a lot about you, and they will dictate where your life is headed. So you want to make sure that you're taking a good look at your friendship circle to make sure that it is in line with what your greater purpose is. That's not necessarily saying where you are now, but where you're trying to go. You can't take people with you who are weighing you down, people who are negative, people who don't have any money, people who aren't focused on succeeding, people who aren't speaking positively, people who aren't trying to move towards something that's better than where they are right now. And so if you have some dead weight in terms of friendships, whether they be platonic, romantic, what have you, make sure that those things aren't able to continue to weigh you down, because the more things that you have that are pulling you down, the less likely you are to move forward, and the pace at which you move forward is going to be a lot slower. So look at the people who are in your circle and that you spend your time with. The next thing, what's something else that could be weighing you down? Overspending. I'm sorry, but I have to say this over and over and over again to entrepreneurs. Look at your finances. Are you putting money out that you have not brought in yet? Again, are you putting more money out than you're bringing back in? So look at what you're actually spending money on. And I'm going to tell you, your money says a lot about what it is that you value. So your value should be in alignment with what you're spending your money on. Is the majority of your money going to something that's wasteful? Because you need to look at your priorities if that's the case. So if you spend a lot of money on wardrobe, then we know that image should be important to you. If your image is not the most important thing to you, then why are you putting so much money into things that you are purchasing in terms of what you're wearing? If you are dedicated in saying that you want to be successful and that you need to learn a lot of new skills, and you should be seeing your money following training. If your money's not following training, then I don't believe that education is something that's important to you. If you're saying that you're a person who cares about taking care of your body and being healthy, then your money should be following things like exercise, healthy eating, things that you can do to increase your activity levels. If your money is not following that, then healthy living is not really important to you. And I'm saying those things to say this. Sometimes in business and in life, our money can start to cover up things that we don't want to deal with. And so we end up spending and trying to fix our problems externally instead of working on what is going on in here. And so we end up spending money trying to cover up things that we haven't dealt with. And the same thing goes for business. So I'll see people saying, well, they need another service. Well, they need more resources. Well, they need a coach. Well, they need another subscription service. And chances are, oftentimes, it's not about them needing more resources. It's about them not actually taking the action steps that is necessary, for them to be able to move forward. And so they spend all this time investing because they don't want to actually take the time to do the work. And so all this money is going out, but they're not doing the action steps and following through on the things that they need. Another thing that I see really often with business owners is that they get into a bunch of different groups saying that they want accountability. Let me tell you something. Accountability shouldn't always have to come with people outside of you. You should be holding yourself accountable to the things that you want to be able to do. It doesn't mean sometimes you might not need support, but you shouldn't be in 8 groups for accountability. That's a bunch of crap. It's not accountability. It's you not wanting to do the things that you need to do. And you're trying to lay off the responsibility on other people to move you forward. If your dream doesn't matter to you, then why should we be holding you accountable? You should be holding yourself accountable. And then when you fall short, then we can pick up the slack and try to push you forward. But you need to dictate if it's important to you first. So I had a lot of people who will contact me and they say, well, you're a success coach. We want you to come to our group and help us and give us some success tips. I can give you all the tips in the world, but guess what? If you don't implement them, then it doesn't mean anything. It still comes down to you. I can sit there and I can do a group coaching call. I can sit there and I can do a mastermind. I can sit there and I can pour out success tips every day. I can sit there and give you the steps, but you still need to have to do the work. No matter if you get a coach. If you get a coach, they're going to show you some action steps that you can do, but you still need to implement them. any of these things that people keep spending their money on, it still comes down to you being able to automate and actually implement the things that it takes. The only time when you won't have to actually do the work is if you're contracting it out and paying somebody to do it. Outside of that, if you get a resource, if you get a coach, if you get a consultant, any of those different things, you're going to still have to do some work on your part in order to make it successful. And so if you aren't willing to do the work, stop reaching outward and asking everybody else to hold you accountable, to hold your feet to the fire, to give you the things that you need. You need to hold yourself accountable first. All right. So we already talked about looking at your circle. So that's your friendships, your relationships, and the people that you spend time with. The second thing that we talked about was, hold on, we got a little bit of a problem with timing. Okay. And then we talked about overspending. So looking at your spending patterns, making sure that they're following what your values are. And if they're not in alignment, take a good look at it. The next thing we talked about was making sure that you are holding yourself accountable and taking the actions that you need to get ready to move forward. The next one is asking everyone else for approval before you make a decision. Asking everyone else for approval before you make a decision. I see this all the time on social media. People will write 4 or 5 different posts on a specific thing that they're trying to launch in their business, saying they're looking for more feedback. They're looking for opinions. They want somebody to look something over. Can they pick everyone's brain? Can they sit down and have a one-on-one with people before they pull the trigger? It's nice when you're starting to do it and you need a little bit of feedback. But if you've been trying to get feedback for 3 weeks, there's a problem. It's not about needing more feedback. It's about you not wanting to make a decision. And so stop holding other people hostage because you don't want to actually make a decision. You have to pull the trigger at some time. I will tell you something that has worked for me over and over and over again. Done is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. Launch something and see how it goes and then adjust along the way. There's room for you to grow in your business. It does not have to be perfect when you launch it. It just needs to be done when you launch it. And so stop looking for everything to continue to be tweaked and continue to be perfect and dotting every I and crossing every T before you get ready to do something. Stop looking to everyone else to tell you and to approve things before you launch them. It's okay for you to feel comfortable and to go with your gut in your business. After all, it's your business. It's not about everyone else. It's not about everyone else's approval. It's not about what they think. It's about what you think. Unless you are actually using that as a polling mechanism for your target audience, that would be very different. But I'm talking about people who are constantly asking for approval, for feedback, for things and delaying it and procrastinating and not pulling the trigger. That needs to stop. If you haven't launched something and you know you've been toiling with it forever, it's time to pull the trigger and just launch. Stop the BS. Stop the procrastination. Stop the asking for approval. It's time for you to make a decision and to move forward. And then the last one is complaining. Complaining. I'm sorry. I am so tired of seeing people complain on social media. They're complaining about Facebook. They're complaining about things going on in the news. They're complaining about this thing in the community. They're complaining about how people post this particular thing on their page. They're complaining about the prices being too high. They're complaining about the lack of money that's coming into their business. Let me give you a tip. If you spend as much time focusing on things that you can do positively towards actualizing your goal instead of complaining, I guarantee you will see a change in your business. Before you complain about it, look for a solution to it. Stop going to social media to vent all of your frustrations. Instead, spend that time actually working on a solution. All this energy that you're putting into complaining, all this energy that you're putting into negativity, all this energy that you're putting into things that aren't serving your purpose are a waste of your energy and time. Stop the complaining. Stop the constant need to vent every frustration on social media. That is not serving your greater purpose. That is not in alignment with where you're going. That is not allowing you to be successful. That is draining your energy. And even more so, what it also does is it attracts a whole bunch of people who are complainers to you. Because once you put that post, you have other people who want to vent on the post and they're coming along with you. And then you guys go back and forth. And then at the end of it, you've exhausted a lot of energy. You've got attracted a lot of people into your circle who are negative as well, and they're not going to allow you to be able to move forward. So stop the complaining, stop the venting on social media all the time. It's not to say that you shouldn't have some frustrations, but what can you do with frustrations? You can either accept it and learn a lesson from it. You can do something else to channel that energy. You can do something positive to allow your brain to take a rest, which means you take some time for yourself, or you can do something to actually come up with a solution. But complaining on social media, venting on social media, it's not going to help you. So again, look at some of the things that you might need to do that could be dead weight that are holding you down from achieving your goals. And when you get rid of the dead weight, you actually make room for some things that are positive to come into your life. I think it all is about what you're attracting, and your actions sometimes can attract things to you that are going to weigh you down, that are going to distract you, that are going to cause you to lose focus. Make sure that you are focusing your energy, your money, your time on things that serve your greater purpose, things that are geared towards success, things that are helping you to build your business, things that are helping you to bring positive people into your circle, things that are attracting profitability to you, things that are attracting wealth, things that are attracting abundance. Don't spend your time on things that aren't in alignment with where you're trying to go. Make sure that you take some time to look at some things that might be weighing you down, like some dead friendships, overspending, procrastination, complaining, reaching out to everyone else for approval, and doing things that are wasting your time. Make sure that in 2017, you're intentional with the things that you do, the money that you spend, the people you spend time with, and the way in which you conduct yourselves, both in person and virtually. Make sure that you are committed to your success and that you're holding yourself accountable to your goals. I hope that this has been helpful. If you haven't caught the old videos, go ahead and look those up. Like I said, we've been doing these things each day to make sure that you are moving towards accomplishing and realizing those goals that you set for 2017. Each day will be another step to help you on your journey. But after all, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're going to do with the information. Are you going to move forward? Are you going to take the steps in the right direction? Are you going to let go of the things that are weighing you down and move towards your dreams? It all comes down to you. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I am Coach Shanelle, a success coach and a speaker. I've been an advocate for women since 2009. I'm committed to helping you realize your dreams by giving you access to resources that help you achieve success. If you have a need for coaching, feel free to reach out to me on my website. The information is up above in the header, or look at my contact information on my page because it has the information about what I offer in terms of services and how to get in touch with me. If you have an additional question, feel free to put it down below. If you want somebody else to benefit from this information, go ahead and share it out. And if you like it, let me know. How else would I know, right? If you want to make sure you don't miss a video, go ahead and subscribe. Outside of that, have a wonderful day, and I hope that your week will be great. Take care. Bye.